The Last of Us Season 2 is quite the controversial show and has now released all episodes on Max, and after watching the previous season and really liking that, I decided to tune in every Sunday to watch this season. Now, like many of you, I've heard quite the amount of criticism for this season and its approach to adapting the material from the video game. For me, I feel very conflicted by this season, and mainly the way it chose to go about writing in certain things from the game. And I feel like since I've played the video games and the first one is one of my favorite games of all time, I can't help but constantly compare the show to the original material. The first season of the show worked really well as a faithful and well done adaptation from the first game, and it did a really good job at showcasing all of the game's strengths into that first season. It also allowed for people who hadn't played the game to see Joel and Ellie's story play out for the first time as well. Unfortunately, where Season 2 fails is its ability to adapt from the second game. I feel very conflicted by this season because as someone who has played the second game and as someone who doesn't really even necessarily love the second game, I found this season to be missing a lot of the marks that made parts of the second game worth playing. For example, in the last episode of the season, actually, sorry, I should say spoiler warning first. Skip to this part in the video if you don't want to hear this. Sorry, I should have had that coming. My bad. In the last episode of the season, we see Ellie reuniting with Dina after having killed Nora back in episode 5. In the game, when Ellie talks about killing Nora and making her tell her where Abby is, you can actually see the emotional toll that it has on Ellie, and you can see that this quest for revenge is going to end up scarring her even more. And in the show, when the same scene is playing out, you can't even tell what Ellie is feeling. Like, who thought it was a good idea to make her look like she just pooped her pants in public and now has to awkwardly deal with the poop smell coming from her pants in like a crowd of people? It's changes like that that come off as weird and borderline unbearable to watch that just leave me with a bad taste in my mouth. It kind of feels like events just happen in the show because, oh, that's what happened in the game, so we have to have it play out to some degree in the show, and everything just feels very sloppy and not well written, and it honestly makes the game seem a lot better and made me appreciate the game even more in return. I would say the majority of this season misses most of the points of what made certain scenes in the game impactful, so it's pretty frustrating in that way as well. And that's not to say that I thought this entire season was bad, because I did find that the first two episodes did a good job in setting up Joel's death and introducing both old and new characters. And then episode 6 was objectively the best episode in this season, as we get to follow Joel and Ellie in flashbacks through the past 5 years and really get to see these characters grow and develop and understand why there is this strain in their relationship. Everything in this episode felt really natural, and you can just tell that it was made with a lot more care for these characters and their story, unlike some of the other episodes that felt very unnecessary and poorly executed at times. Episode 6 actually happens to be directed by Neil Druckmann, the guy who made the video games and is also the co-creator on the show, so it comes as no surprise that he'd be the one to have the best idea of how to direct these actors and how to make a compelling narrative for the episode. But unfortunately, this one episode in this season has to carry the weight of all of the other episodes, and to my disappointment, this season overall did not resonate with me and just ended up making me uninterested to watch what comes next from this show. So those are my thoughts on The Last of Us Season 2. If you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.